This is a wake-up call, all of America, all of Europe. You are next.
How many on the terror watch list got in? We don't know the answer to that question. That is very dangerous as a national security expert, which is what the FBI Director Wray talked about coming from Hamas.
The ongoing war in the Middle East has raised the threat of an attack against Americans in the United States.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever you happen to be watching this. My name is Samantha, and we're going to break this down. So I told you yesterday, the Dems are blowing this Signalgate out of the water. But there's a bigger, more pressing issue, folks, than supposed leaked confidential information about war. First off, even if it was all top secret, they couldn't have exposed it to the American public without repercussions. So the fact that every screenshot has been shown to the American public tells me everything I need to know, if you have a brain to think. What bothers me is that I can see exactly what the rhinos, the establishment, and the deep state are attempting to do. I don't even blame this on Democrats, folks. I blame this on Americans who cannot see that we are still battling against a deep state in our government. And what is their plan? Their plan is to take out all of Trump's picks, starting with Pete Hegseth, okay? They're going to try to remove them from power. That is what they want to do, and they're just using the Democrats to get what they want.
Attack plans carelessly leaked by the U.S. Department of Defense in reckless and dangerous fashion. Congress must conduct full, independent, public and private congressional hearings. The highest national security and intelligence leaders of our nation put American service members' lives at high risk. All responsible must be held fully accountable, including through removal or resignation from their positions, and these include Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth, CIA Director Radcliffe, Director of National Intelligence Gabbard, Secretary of State Rubio, National Security Advisor Waltz, Chief of Staff Wiles, and Vice President Vance were among those involved in the plans Hegseth shared against DoD policy on a Signal group chat on unsecured, non-government devices vulnerable to espionage.
Now, what gets me is that it was President Biden and the CIA that said, use Signal app. This is the app we want you to use. This is the app that is secure. However, two of the women that sit as CEOs and are co-founders of Signal had this to say about the app. This is Catherine Mayer. This is her bio. Notice all the different foundations, nonprofits, and the World Economic Forum that this woman worked for. And I'm going to let you hear in her own words here in a second how she feels about truth. You know, truth stops creativity, in her opinion.
Differences critical for moving from polarization to productivity is that the Wikipedians who write these articles aren't actually focused on finding the truth. They're working for something that's a little bit more attainable, which is the best of what we can know right now. And after 7 years there, I actually believe that they're onto something. That for our most tricky disagreements, seeking the truth and seeking to convince others of the truth isn't necessarily the best place to start. In fact, I think our reverence for the truth might have become a bit of a distraction that is preventing us from finding consensus and getting important things done.
So we all know who NPR happens to be. That mainstream media, left liberal newspaper that Trump is trying to pull all their funding from because of their insanity. She was just questioned by the Senate. But they didn't bring up the fact that she was CEO of Signal, the same app that just caused the biggest leak in American history and put our troops in danger. I honestly think she might have written all of Kamala Harris's speeches, folks. Now, this is Meredith Whittaker. Now, Meredith has been really opposing places like UK, Finland, and Sweden's backdoor access to open source chat rooms so the government can spy on people. She has been ringing the warning bell that things like open source can be hacked very easy when the government demands open door into people's personal chat rooms. Folks, Do not turn this video off. It's fixing to get so deep. Notice that the article that Meredith Whitaker wrote, she mentioned Chinese hackers getting into government sites. Now, before I go any further, my content is harmful by YouTube standards, and we're actually trying to raise money to go see our soldier in El Paso if if they give us permission to do so. In about 3 weeks before he is deployed to the Middle East in the UAE for a year. If you guys would like to support what we do here at Starkey Farmstead, look in the top of comments. It's the different ways you can support our channel. Let's keep going. Okay, so who set up the Signal chat? Who put all the people into the chat and said, okay, let's have this conversation? Here's where enters Wong. So Wong set this up 4 days prior to the chat, and he left Goldberg in there the entire time. Folks, this gentleman needs to be looked into. And Tom Cotton admits that it is Wong who set up all of Signal Chat's group. In other words, he put everybody's name and number in there. So who is the leaker? It is Wong. Now, why Tom Cotton and all these people are just praising him so much? He's so amazing when we know that his wife was prosecuting J6ers and is obviously a Democrat who worked for none other than Hillary Clinton, who had this to say, that, national security is just getting dumber, and this is like the laptop lady from hell with the emails, right? You can't make this up, folks. This is a plant. This young man needs to be taken completely out of all government positions along with Tom Cotton. Because if we are not careful, this is how they are going to get Trump's picks out of position and put in the ones that they have prepared all this time to destroy America. Just because they claim they're MAGA or they claim they're Republican does not mean they are.
A fight for the soul of our Republican Party. It's not about signal group chats. It's not about security. It's not about any of that hocus pocus stuff. It's not about Roger Wicker, who's sending this ridiculous letter from Mississippi saying, well, we need to have a Department of Defense IG investigation. Do you notice that none of them on Capitol Hill, from Tom Cotton to Roger Wicker, are drawing any fire on the person that actually created this group chat or his lieutenant, Alex Wong? Do you notice that they're not criticizing Mike Waltz at all? That they're not going after Alex Wong, his deputy, who's the one that was responsible for putting this all together? No, instead, out of nowhere, it's Pete Hegseth's fault. What is that all about? It's because they want to remove Pete Hegseth regardless of this entire situation. Oh, and it gets even richer than this. So Alex Wong is the deputy national security advisor under Mike Waltz. Alex Wong, discovered by Laura Loomer, his wife, Candice Chiu Wong, worked under the Obama administration and the Biden administration as an assistant U.S. attorney in the U.S. Attorney's Office. Oh, she was involved in the prosecution of many January 6ers. This guy is married to someone that was locking up our patriots. Mike Waltz, according to reporting that I've heard, Mike Waltz still has a ton of Biden holdovers in the Trump National Security Office. A ton. People that have donated to Kamala Harris, they're still working in the National Security Agency right now in the Trump White House. Mike Waltz has defended them. So why is it that Pete Hegseth gets all the criticism, but Mike Waltz and Alex Wong are just kind of skating by? They're not on the front page of the New York Times. They're not on the front page of the Wall Street Journal. It's a little bizarre, isn't it? It's because Waltz can be replaced easily. It's barely a win. And also, Mike Waltz is friends with all of these neoconservatives. Let me show it to you. Out of nowhere, Tom Cotton, the chief warmonger on Capitol Hill, the head of the Senate Intel Committee, tweets out this morning a defense of Alex Wong. Remember, Tom Cotton has been behind trying to stop Elbridge Colby. Tom Cotton was the one that was pushing against Tulsi Gabbard. And they're back for revenge. The military-industrial complex via the neoconservatives on the Senate Hill are back for revenge against our America First movement, and they are all after Pete Hegseth.
And if you saw my video last night talking about this, breaking this Signalgate and war with Iran. What did I tell you guys? The holdovers from the Biden regime are the problem. They're everywhere, folks. You want to know why we're not seeing arrest? How do you get anybody arrested when half of your government is hiding information, destroying information, and covering for each other? I don't even know, and I mean this with all my heart, if President Trump ordered people to be arrested right now, I don't even know who in our government would follow the order. Would Homeland Security do what they were told? Would the FBI? Would the CIA? Would the ATF? Would the EPA? Would the USDA? I mean, I could just keep going on and on. This is attack. This is a direct attacks against MAGA and MAHA, Make America Healthy Again. They don't want that. They want to destroy us from within. Keep listening.
This simultaneous strike against Pete Hegseth is not a mistake. It is a coordinated plan. It is a unified, synchronized attack. It is orchestrated.
Jeffrey Goldberg is famous for hoaxes. But in this case, this wasn't a hoax. But what I will say, I read the text. It's all over X if you want to go and read it for yourselves. When I read the text, I have a newfound respect for J.D. Vance. Seriously. Because even in the text messages, he was thinking about America First agenda. And he questioned it at first. I appreciate, and this is behind the scenes, thinking that nobody would see it. Even behind the scenes, in private, he was still making sure that we were following the agenda of Americans first. Of course, Pete had also responded to him and assured him that this was the best in the outcome. And the media don't want to talk about it, but the mission was accomplished. I really did love seeing the thoughtful dialogue between the two, which shows you that we are not an echo chamber.
I just feel like in my heart, most of you understand what she's saying. The conversations between our vice president and our Secretary of Defense were very America first. They were very keep America safe. And I understand how, if you're a liberal and you hate President Trump, how you got your jollies off on this. But I am telling you right now, what Biden did with pulling out in Afghanistan the way he did it, the 13 soldiers' death and the multiple injuries on top of that, leaving all of our equipment, all of our allies, and the animals, the dogs that had given up their lives to be trained to keep our soldiers safe, was an atrocity. And no one was ever punished for that. No one was ever held accountable for that. It was just tapped down through mainstream media, and America just rolled on. Well, folks, it's not happening this way. And it's not going to happen that way again. My child is being deployed to the Middle East, and I'm going to stay on top of this. I give you my word. We're not going to let any administration get away with what Biden and Kamala Harris did in the Middle East last time we were over there. Now we're seeing more and more equipment shipped over there towards Iran because we know that we're basically in World War III, folks, and you do need to prepare. I have videos on preparation. I will do more in the coming months, but I need you to subscribe, share this video, and let's get the truth out there.
I'm not trying to play it down because Jeffrey Goldberg should never, ever have been in that text message at all. I don't know why he didn't exit out the text message. He was sitting there rubbing his old funky feet, probably eating corn chips while taking screenshots ready for reporting. But that's besides the point. Someone has to be held accountable.
If for some reason Pete had included me in this group text with the other Trump administration officials, and it showed what it showed, I would not have gone on the air on my show to disclose that. I would have gone to Pete Hegseth and the Trump administration and said, I don't think I should have been included on this group chat. You guys may need to look into how this happened.
But Goldberg, the perpetrator of hoaxes, did not do that. He did not do that. This man has perpetrated like 4 different hoaxes that I could find.
Registered Democrat. Goldberg's wife is also a registered Democrat and a big Democrat donor who used to work under who? Hillary Clinton. This is the same Jeffrey Goldberg who infamously lied about weapons of mass destruction to get us into the Iraq War which cost trillions of dollars and thousands of American soldiers. And how else has Goldberg discredited himself? By absurdly claiming that President Trump was Vladimir Putin during the 2016 campaign, by peddling the Russia, Russia, Russia hoax that tried to hijack President Trump's first term, by inventing the suckers and losers hoax to help Joe Biden in the 2020 election, by peddling a hoax about President Trump involving Gold Star families to help Kamala Harris in the 2024 election, which our campaign at the time vigorously denied. Jeffrey Goldberg didn't care.
From Russia to mass destruction weapons, I'm telling you guys, this man is a menace to society. But he did not stop and say, hey, I don't think I'm supposed to be in this text or anything. No, he went straight to mainstream media and started saying, look what they did. But who actually put him in the chat? Again, who did it, folks? He did. But you won't see that on mainstream media. You won't hear most people even speak this kid's name. And he is like a young man. He should be held accountable for what he did. Maybe he shouldn't even be working for the government. Maybe he should be arrested for being a traitor to the United States.